Hi, welcome to our live today. And today I want to know from you, how many people do you find in your life who are always finding faults, no matter what you do, but there is always fault finding. Even to the extent, sometimes you realize that, you are friends with somebody for 5, 10, 15 years, and then suddenly one fault finding happens from your friend, or you tend to find fault, and that relationship goes into doldrums. And when it happens on everyday basis, especially when you're married and you are seeing these things from your in-laws side, where it doesn't matter whether you are a husband or a wife, but the moment you hear that fault finding from somebody, it shrinks you from inside. You don't like it. You become so full of anger. And how much you wish that if somebody could look at the brighter side as well, if somebody could look at what are those good things that you're doing. That's the desire that remains inside. And I want to know from you that, when you're surrounded with these kind of people who are always finding faults in you, my question is, where do you place yourself in this scenario? Are you also the one who tends to find fault with people, or are you also the one who tends to find fault with situations? Now, it's a small concept, that anybody who tends to always find faults with others, it is said that that person is called asuya. Okay. And one who is finding the good aspects is called anusuya. That's that's the knowledge wherein we need to affirm or tell ourselves that, okay, I am the anusuya, which means I am the one who is not finding faults, but I am the one who's looking at the bright side. Because if I give you two examples of this, um, analogies, not examples exactly, no matter how polished the surface is, there would always be some defect in it. So if you are the one who is only focusing on the holes, you will never be able to find the surface as polished or as clean. So, and when you tend to look just as others are finding faults in you, and you shrink and you don't like it, when you tend to look others or the situations from that perspective of finding faults, then you are also not wanted or accepted by others. Leave aside those people extending love to you, they will not even want to be with you. Okay. Now, what do? How do you resolve this? Let's take an example here that, um, again, analogy, more of analogy. Somebody has got cataract, and that person is trying to look at herself or himself in the mirror. And then this person always tends to complain that, mirror is not clear because there is some kind of a, blurry image that comes. Now, this person goes and gets the cataract operation done. When the cataract operation is done and this person comes back to see the mirror, it is clean and clear, right? So, was the mirror defective, wherein the cleaning was required, or was the lens that was in the eye, which was, getting defective? And what did the doctor do in the cataract operation? Doctor removed the lens and replaced it with a new lens. And that is what we are also supposed to do. Because when we are looking at something which we think is not in our favor, remember that we are looking at that thing from the lens that we are wearing, which is cataract lens. Let's remove that lens and start to see, replace it with another lens from where we are able to see a clear picture of what's going right in that situation, or what's good in the other person. And how do you do that? And this is something which is, applicable even in the organizational perspective, which means even in your workplace. Okay. Now, what you will do is, this activity. When somebody, okay, let's begin from you. When you are seeing something, suppose you are speaking with your spouse, and your spouse either does not respond or responds in, one or two words, one or two sentences, but doesn't go beyond that. And this has been happening. Okay, so let's imagine that you are the wife speaking to your husband and this is how he responds. So what you need to do is change the interpretation, because the interpretation that you're giving right now is that he's always like that, he doesn't want to talk to me, he doesn't love me, he's not interested in this relationship. You will have all those kinds of interpretations. So the way you're interpreting the situation is the way you're feeling and is also the way the other person is going to behave. Okay, now you got to change this interpretation. How are you going to change it? You can change it any which way you want to. Only thing you need to know is when you change that interpretation, the way you feel about that situation or the person is also going to be changing. Okay, so your husband is not responding. So one of the interpretations I am saying you can give is that, okay, if he's not responding means that he wants me to be happy and chirpy and talking to him in a nice way. That is the message he is trying to give me by his silence. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, so it will bring you from negative state, at least to begin with, to the neutral state. From the neutral state, then with the continuous practice, you come back to that positive and a resourceful state, and this is how you will start to interpret. Okay, so you can say that he wishes to see me in a happy state, so when I speak happily, he will listen. Or the other interpretation could be, I think every time I go to him, I am talking about same particular topic. So if I change the topic, then he is going to listen to me. So that's a different interpretation that you are giving. If you're a man and you think that you have a wife who's nagging all the time, and you're so fed up of her nagging, and she's always complaining. So in that case, you could think that the new interpretation that you could give is that, okay, she's nagging because she's complaining or criticizing because she looks up to me. She thinks that I am the provider. She knows that I am the caretaker. So when she looks up to me, she is looking at, up to me with a certain desire that I can help her. I can, help her live her desires. So she is giving me that kind of an importance. She trusts that I can fulfill her need. Now, this is a very different interpretation from, oh my God, she's always nagging. Okay, she's looking up to me and she's giving me that, putting me on a pedestal that I can help her. So let me see what I can do. This is just an example here. Okay, so when you change that interpretation, you will see that state inside you begins to change. At the same time, I want to tell you that, because your mind has got so used to the negative interpretations which are painful, right? It will take time for you to get into the new interpretation. When you get into the new interpretation, when you do it for the first time, after that, just go inside and see how are you feeling in your body. Has anything changed? Has anything shifted? Initially, it would be just about 5 to 10%. Yes, it's a big deal. Okay. Now, when you start to do it on everyday basis, your brain will know that there is a certain, because each time you do something new, different, your certain connections get made in the brain. So when you do this repeatedly, those connections get consolidated. Now your brain is learning a new pattern. You've got to practice that pattern every day, because nerve cells that fire together wire together, right? And if they don't fire, that wire is going to break. So for you to know that these connections need to be consolidated, you will need to practice this not every day, but in every situation. This situation could be with your children also. This situation could be with your neighbors, your guests, your maid. Change the interpretation and see how it feels to you. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I will say that this applies also to your workplace in terms of the way you connect with your teams. So if you're a leader in your organization, if you're heading a team, the way you are interpreting your team's performances, the way you're interpreting your team's day-to-day behavior is going to help you to, you know, uh, your interpretation will leave a clear impact on their performance. Change the interpretation in your head. No need to talk to the other person. Change the interpretation in your head and see how it begins to impact your team's performance. Needless to say, how it is going to impact uh, them as employees or them as the members of your team. And if you are, you have, obviously you have colleagues, apply the same thing and you will see that the impact on the colleagues also is different. Okay, so change the meaning time and again, and I will definitely want to know from you how has been your practice and what are the results you're getting. And in case you're getting stuck at any point in time, please feel free to write here in the comment box and I will be very happy to answer them. I want to tell you that, and you must be knowing, it's just that it's not in the conscious awareness, that when you start to change the meaning of the situation or the people and give a different meaning that is more resourceful, you will experience the change inside you, and that is good enough for the transformation to begin in the right direction. And you will remember, you will recall that when we started, today's day 25, and when we started, we said that, I am going to be helping you to get into the right direction so that you can feel the impact of the efforts, the different efforts you have made. Until now, you made efforts, but none of those had any impact. This is about changing that direction wherein you will experience the impact. So that's the activity for today. And I really want you to practice this and let me know what are the experiences, and should you have any questions, write them as well. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, there is a bit of a lag that happens here, you know that. If there are any questions, just put them right here and I will be happy to answer. And if there are no questions, then in that case, I will be logging off for today and I am going to be seeing you tomorrow, right? I don't think there are questions right now at this point in time. And I really wish to thank you for all those people who are taking out time to come and watch this live, which is normally about 15-20 minutes, and it is really incredible for you to be taking out that time, which shows how determined you are to bring about that transformation. Because remember, when when you transform from within, only then the world outside you begins to transform. Okay, but the transformation within needs to be in the right direction, with the right perspective, with the right intention. Okay, so try to change the interpretation you give, and you're going to just change it in your mind. That's all. You don't have to talk to anybody. And let me know what it means to you. So thank you so much for watching this, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 3:30. Take care. Bye.